This is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Sunday, April 7, 2024, and tonight, fellow WrestleManiacs, Josh and I are going to be talking about NXT Stand and Deliver. Now, I know NXT was yesterday, okay? And due to an unforeseen circumstance, I was not able to watch this show live yesterday. It's like the universe is telling me not to watch NXT.
Maybe you're just getting ready for that WrestleMania hangover, right? I mean, everybody has the WrestleMania hangover. It's the anticipation of night one. And so maybe you were able to kind of get past night one and kind of get a fresh perspective on NXT. I'd almost say, at least for me, and maybe for you, it was kind of a way to take that nasty taste of the end of the main event last night out, or maybe the Rey Mysterio match from yesterday. So I enjoyed kind of revisiting a little bit today too. So.
I went to the chiropractor yesterday, got my back cracked, my neck cracked. I'm good. I am good for the rest of the week. We still got more to cover.
Yes, you do.
All right, but let's get into this. So, the main event was Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. This story has been brewing since October of last year when Trick Williams was attacked. Now, it was revealed that Carmelo Hayes attacked him, and they were going to main event NXT Stand and Deliver. First of all, I have to say, Carmelo Hayes went out there dressed as Killmonger from Black Panther. That was really cool.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like the little extra added character piece to that. That made a lot of sense to me.
Yes. I didn't know this was Trick Williams' hometown.
You know, it's funny. I really don't remember them ever highlighting it. It seems like until because I mean, most of the segments Carmelo and Trick always had was at some barbershop, and I always presumed it was Chicago or down south somewhere. But really, yeah, I was kind of surprised. That kind of came out of left field, at least for me.
Same. But, all right, let's get into this match. I thought this was a pretty good main event. I mean, I felt bad for that poor referee. First, Trick Williams accidentally bumps into him. Then Melo bumps into him. It's like that poor ref could not catch a break. I kind of thought this was going to go to Melo, especially after he low blow Trick Williams. But he hit that trick knee to Melo, and Trick Williams won this match. It was definitely a passing of the torch moment. I think Carmelo Hayes is going to the main roster after this.
For sure.
But this was a really great match. And the crowd was behind Trick Williams saying, whoop that trick, whoop that. I found myself saying whoop that trick too.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on this match?
I mean, look, Trick is over. I mean, you've got them saying whoop that trick. It's not really the right placement, but if I remember correctly, I think they were even chanting it with the whole Cody Rhodes and Rock belt thing. They were saying whoop that trick. I mean, to me, that says a lot. Now, the match was a lot shorter than I expected, to be honest with you. I kind of expected maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I mean, it went about 15, which is okay. The match was good overall. I think they played to Trick's strengths. I think that Melo, the only thing I have a fear of Melo for is, and it's not his fault, but he's so short by comparison. Because when you see him walk in the crowd, and I watched his entrance, and I thought, damn, everybody in the crowd seems much taller than he is. Again, not his fault. Nothing he can do about that. Rey Mysterio has always been shorter than the crowd, but I don't know. He walks like he's 6'4", which again is good for confidence, but I think that might be a problem running into the giants of the main roster. That'd be my only concern for Melo. Trick, of course, has got the size, the strength, and I think we might see him become the NXT champion soon, would be my guesstimation. Whenever it's time for Ilja to go, he might be the one to take it.
Yeah, I could see that.
They never had their match from what I recall. They never really had their title match, so he's due a title match at this point.
Yeah, I could see that. Alrighty. So the kickoff show, let me see. It's Trick Willie NXT now. Yes, it is. Hey, Io. So, I have to say, the kickoff show only had one match. It was Shawn Spears versus Joe Gacy. Does this match come about just because, as we talked about in the Go Home show, Shawn Spears attacked Joe Gacy? Was this something that was brewing? You gotta help fill me in here.
You know what, really, honestly, I mean, as much as I watch NXT, I can tell you I don't really remember anything brewing besides Joe Gacy's just crazy, and they just needed a match for Joe Gacy. From my style recall, I don't really remember any big story or any big storyline besides, again, as we talked about the Go Home show, him getting hit by Joe be getting hit by Shawn Spears. Poor Shawn Spears, though. I'm sorry. Leaving AEW and not being on TV. I guess he's on TV, but man, you're telling me he's going to be on the pre-show on WrestleMania weekend? I need some more of Spears' main roster, or at least main NXT, because this was a disservice to him all across the board, I think.
I heard he's not doing too good right now. Like he's losing more than he's winning. So maybe he just wants to put people over.
Maybe it's his punishment for leaving for AEW, because nobody really gets away with leaving for AEW. No one.
He didn't leave. He was released.
I don't know. Even still, there's always those people, I think, that have a little bit of I don't know. Again, conspiracy theory maybe, but you know, Cody didn't
Carmelo
get away.
Is MVP vibes from.
If it was a Pokemon, he'd be like the starter version of MVP. That's what I would say. But you know, that's my opinion.
Okay. So the main roster kicked off with the NXT Tag Team title match. It was Axiom and Nathan Frazer versus Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker. This was a really good match. I really enjoyed this match. I was like, holy, when they did that Spanish fly from the top rope and then the 450 splash, I was like, oh my God. They had me believe that Axiom and Nathan Frazer were going to win, especially because isn't Bron Breakker supposed to be on the main roster? Like,
yeah,
this was a great match, but Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker retained. What were your thoughts on this?
I like the match. You know, one spot I really liked was when Baron Corbin was going to not really choke slam him, but he kind of threw him on the announce table, kind of and flipped him over, and they kind of flipped back up and jumped on top of him. I thought that was really good in the finish. I liked the finish. I mean, granted, again, they kind of, I want to say it buried him, but look, end of days to Axiom, and then Frazer comes in and gets hit by the spear. Bron Breakker, 1, 2, 3. That was it. So no, it was a great match. They really, honestly, Breakker and Corbin impressed me in that they kept up with Frazer and Axiom's speed. It never felt plotting, and it was pretty much I don't really think there was much of a lull in the match that I can recall when I was watching. I was like, you know what, this is pretty damn good. There's no real slow spots, I guess, or rest holds. So it was balls to the wall the entire way. So I really liked it a lot.
I also, if you watch back, the ring move when Breakker was hitting the ropes, really? Okay, now I'm curious.
That boy is strong. I mean, he's Rick Steiner's kids, but I swear the way he talks is literally like you close your eyes and it's Scott Steiner talking. It's so strange.
Yeah, he sounds like Scott.
Exactly.
So let's talk about a Metafour. We had a bunch of segments with them backstage. They tried to interview Oba Femi, but homie just ignored them. They tried to interview Thea, but it looked like she attacked Noma and Dar. And then in the ring, they announced the NXT Stand and Deliver attendance of 16,545 in attendance. You know, I'm not too... A Metafour is interesting, to say the least. And I kind of did not dig their backstage segments. I mean, I get they were hosting NXT, but I was like...
The Femi one was pretty funny. I thought when he was going to interview Oba Femi, he just went boom and then just knocked him into the wall. I thought that was pretty good. That was pretty good comedy. But yeah, they are. Can I tell you they're going to go to the main roster? I don't think so. I just don't think it's going to translate well. It works well like Chase U. Chase U is good for the college crowd, but will it translate to main roster? I just don't think so. I don't think they're going to get it.
Don't let JJ hear you say that. He loves Chase U.
I like Chase U too. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like him. I don't. Tell me a gimmick that was like a school teacher that really got over. You had Matt Stryker, right? He hadn't been around for a while. Look at Dean Douglas, all those. It's just, I hope it does. I mean, when I say that, I hope it does well. I just don't think it's going to translate like they're hoping. It's just going to be an NXT gimmick, and then we'll have to move on.
We'll see. Okay. The triple threat for the North American title, it was Oba Femi versus Dijak versus Josh Briggs. I have to say, like, Oba Femi is a star. He's a freaking star. From the little bit that I've seen of Oba Femi, he's a star. Oh, you see? See what I told you? He says, don't let me hear him say, what about Chase U? That he said that
that's what I said.
Think Chase U would translate well on the main roster. Certain groups are made just for NXT. Metafour and Chase U are examples.
Right.
That's
It's not
fire.
that they're
It's
bad.
okay.
It's not that they're bad at all. I like them. I just feel that, getting Metafour up to the main roster could work. But again, you're going to have them like Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly was a great NXT gimmick, but Pretty Deadly changed when they went to the main roster. All of a sudden, now they have a disco ball. They've got disco music. You still have the Yes Boy, but to me, they don't feel like the same characters. Granted, they have to evolve, but I don't know. I just don't think Chase U is going to be what we want it to be. And I don't think Metafour is going to translate well. I just don't. I like them, but I don't think they're going to go to the main roster. And okay, Hit Row is a prime example. Everybody loved Hit Row. Swerve Strickland, look what happened to them. They're not even here anymore.
Well, that's because Hit Row failed without Swerve Strickland. They needed Swerve Strickland.
But they still were an NXT thing. So really, sometimes you can pivot. And look at BFAB. Somehow she survived and got rehired and is now with Bobby Lashley. And is probably more relevant than she was in Hit Row. So I don't know. I mean, again, I hope they all succeed. It's not that I don't want them to succeed. I just don't think they'll be able to go to the main roster.
Believe it or not, I agree with him. I don't think Chase U or the family would translate well to the main roster. But yes, I'm a Chase U alumni.
I'm the same way.
All right, so this triple threat match, like I said, Oba Femi is definitely a star on the rise. He's incredible. From the very little that I've seen, I really like the fact that Dijak and like Josh Briggs over here were like trying to double team him. That Canadian destroyer that Dijak did to Josh Briggs, I was like, oh my god. Oh, this was incredible. I really like this match.
It was a barn burner. I mean, I went into this thinking, okay, it'll be all right. Dijak to me is a star. Granted, he's kind of like the big boss man new, which I don't mind at all. He's kind of a real angry, mean character. The way him and Briggs were able to tag team, I would not be mad if I saw them team against Breaker and Corbin, and maybe this is where, they can lose the tag titles to him. I wouldn't mind it at all. They seem to do pretty well. And I'm sorry, to me, the spot of the match, well, there were two. One is when they had Oba Femi. If you can imagine, folks, if you didn't watch it, imagine Oba Femi being seated into a chair kind of like this, essentially. Dijak going to the top rope, not closest to him, but further away from him. Going to do whatever he was going to do. Insert Josh Briggs, basically flips him off of the top rope onto the floor, onto basically landing on Oba Femi, who's sitting in the chair. It was nuts. I've never seen three big men, and they're all huge, tall guys, basically flying like cruiserweights. And then, of course, you had the Tower of Doom, I'd call it, where you had, if I remember correctly, it was Dijak, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Dijak had Josh Briggs for like a Death Valley driver or something. Oba Femi comes up from behind him, has him on his shoulders, literally drops him, and does a combination, I guess, side electric chair and a Death Valley driver. I mean, very rarely would I have expected this type of match. And even the cinematography was great. After the end when Dijak, I was pulling for Dijak. They made me want, okay, Dijak needs to win this championship. And that last scene when he just Googles him, picks him up, power bombs him on him and pins him. I'm sorry. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm so excited for this match. I was shook.
Yeah. This was good. I liked it. I kind of thought that if Oba Femi was going to lose in this match, that he was not going to eat the pin. Let me see. According to Noah, Briggs and Dijak have history going back to 2017 and their time on the independent scene before either man got signed. Hence why they focus their attention on each other so much. Okay, see, I didn't know that. Thanks to Noah. He's like a wrestling historian over there. He knows a lot.
That's awesome. Well, that makes total sense now. But I mean, it was a barn burner. It really. This was a star-making moment, if nothing else, for Dijak and Oba Femi, and gave a little bit more credibility in my eyes to Josh Briggs.
They were able to use this opportunity to have Dijak help Briggs get over as a solo wrestler. Okay. Agreed. This was Dijak's sixth chance at the end. Really? His sixth chance at the North American title?
I mean, he went for the world title. He's still not won anything. That's my problem. He was really friends with Keith Lee when Keith Lee was in NXT. They were kind of buddy-buddy for a little bit there. But yeah, Dijak's been a starter stopper. I don't know why, but he just hasn't translated yet.
Wow. Okay. So next we get the 6-woman tag match. It's Thea Hell, Kelani Jordan, and Fallon Henley versus Izzy Dame, Jacy Jayne, and Kiana James. So James, Jayne, and Dame attack before the match. And I thought this was a pretty decent match. I got a little lost because I was trying to figure out who was who.
Yeah. Very full mouthed names for sure.
Yeah, and you know me, like I don't really watch NXT, so it's like I'm still trying to figure out who is. But they helped get the Kimura to Izzy James, and so they won this match by submission. I think, just personally, what I think that this might eventually lead to Jacy Jayne versus Thea 1-on-1. I think that's what this story is going.
That was the hottest part of the match. If you look back at the match, the hottest part of the match was when they were standing across the ring from each other. They didn't get very much time together because, again, Thea Hale just, I'll say this. I always talk about she acts like a 10-year-old girl that's hyped up on sugar, but this was probably the first time for me that I was like, you know what? They finally made, it's what they like to call NXT, saying she's a grown-ass woman. That's what they are now complaining or comparing her to in terms of what she is. And that's true. I mean, her entire match, she just was different this time. The Hell just was a lot different this time, and I really wanted to see them two have a match together. Like, I honestly thought about, like, you know what? Maybe I should play that match on WWE 2K24 because it made me that excited. I'm like, that must be a pretty good match. So I'm actually excited for this feud more going into it now.
Right. Yes. I'm sure that's going to be a good match. Jacy Jayne versus Thea Hell. So Ava Raine makes an announcement. She claims that they have the best women's division but that's not true. They're second best. You know, TNA has the best women's division.
Right.
But Ava announced to get the NXT Women's North American title. She didn't give too much details if there's going to be a tournament or how we're going to crown the first Women's North American champion. But I'm digging this. You know, they got rid of the tag titles. Another opportunity for the women to have another title besides the main title. Let's see. Kalani has star written all over her, and Fallon's criminally underrated.
I mean, Fallon was with Briggs for a while, and his partner Jensen. So she was part of that tag team.
Oh, I know that JJ told me that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he told me that.
I'm glad for this. I mean, look, it's going to be a hell of a lot more relevant to the TBS and the women's championship over on AEW. To me, I like it. I like this. This is what should be. Like, granted, the tag team titles, again, I don't necessarily want another NXT tag team title for the women for a while, but the secondary title, they've got talent down there. Why not do it?
We all know the knockouts are number one, but Ava has to put her division over. NXT Women's Division untouchable right now. I will say, I do think that they have the second best women's division in North America. You know, my heart belongs to the knockouts. Like, I love the knockouts division over in TNA. But I can't deny the NXT women, you know, they killed it. They really killed it, especially about the match we're going to talk about right now. NXT Women's title match, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. This was a really good match. I really like the fact that they bought that old school black and gold NXT style with Julia. They showed Julia in the crowd. Now, that's something the old black and gold NXT used to do a lot. They did it with Drew McIntyre, Bobby Roode, Matt Riddle.
Lee, everybody. Austin Theory.
Yeah. And she's sitting in the crowd with William Regal. I have to say, like, I've seen like very little of Julia, but I'm really excited. I'm kind of sad that I'm not gonna get my dream match. I wanted Julia versus Deonna Purrazzo, so that's not gonna happen. Yeah. But I mean, adding her,
one day
it's gonna be, huh?
One day she could come over to WWE. You never know. You never know.
Well, never say never, I guess. But I have to say, like, Roxanne Perez in this match, she was freaking vicious. She was brutal. She kept targeting Lyra Valkyria's Lucha, my buddy Lucha. Hey, Lucha, what's up?
Now, Roxanne was a killer, and that's what she needed. She needed that more aggressive style. And instead of just being the kind of bubbly babyface she's always been, no. I'm liking this new Roxanne Perez. She's the prodigy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how they asked Booker T, like, oh, what do you think of this new Roxanne Perez?
Mm-hmm. And he still loves it.
Yeah, but this is a really great match. I mean, that she kept targeting, let me see. They've done it a couple times during this era as well. I remember them doing it for Dragon Lee for sure. Oh, well, I didn't watch NXT when they did that for Dragon Lee, so thank you for letting me know.
He's got a good point, but I mean, I definitely think it feels a little bit different this time now.
Yeah. I really like the ending sequence to this when Roxy did the Poisarana, the pop rocks, and then the crossface to Lyra, and then like Lyra just couldn't get out of
tap clean.
She had to tap. I was like, damn. Like, this
When
was
was the
great.
last time you've seen a heel tap out a babyface clean that way?
Right? And like in the fact that like Paxley tried to get involved in this and she like wasn't unable to do anything about it. And like later on in the night, she apologizes to Lyra, but she doesn't want to hear it. So very interested to see where this goes. But like now Roxanne Perez finally reclaimed the title that she never lost.
Yes. It was good. It really was a good match. And they really did a good job, as you said, even going old school, targeting a limb. You don't see that very often anymore, most of the time. So, I mean, I really loved this match. It was, I would say it's better than their Vengeance Day match for sure. Not because Roxanne won, just because, again, I felt more heat. Remember we talked about on the Go Home show, that really felt like there was no heat. This one, it felt like Roxanne pretty much was going to kill her if she had to. And so I really enjoyed that aspect about Roxanne this time.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I did like their Vengeance match, even with Lola Vice inserting herself in the matches. I thought it was a really great match. It was my favorite match of the night. But this was great too. I like this.
I call Lola Vice because she's always hitting her thigh. So
okay. We got the NXT title match. It's Ilja Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo. So I really like the video package. Let me see. Roxanne is so good. Yeah, she is. I like the video package that they did for this match. Like, I gotta give it to Tony D'Angelo. He did not want, despite the fact that the family was at ringside, he did not want the family to get involved at this at all. I mean, I feel like you took Ilja Dragunov to the limit here. That H-bomb, that they did, I was like, holy shit. She hasn't even reached her 50% of her prime yet. No. That they did through the announce table, I was like, oh my god, and I like the fact that Ilja was like chanting Stacks, to do something about it, but Tony was like, no, this is mine. I was like, fuck, like this is great.
But I love the dichotomy of Tony D'Angelo wearing all white and the family being all in black. I don't know. To me, I felt that was a purposeful reason for that. Is Tony D, of course, being the good guy, the white meat baby face, right? No, I don't want to use the nugs. And the family's like, no, Tony, you got to do it. Now, to me, I understand what Ilja won. I get it. But I still would have liked to see Channing Stacks go against the Don, have him win the championship by hitting Ilja without him seeing it or whatever, and either reveal Tony D knew all the time, or the fact that now Tony D'Angelo puts his title on the line and basically loses it again, and the family turns on him. I don't know. I really like the idea that he's wearing all white and they're wearing all black. To me, there was something to that. Because nothing's ever done accidentally, as we know in the Triple H era.
That's true. But this was great. Like, I'm curious to see, like, at the end, after Ilja Dragunov won, both men shook hands, so he was showing him respect here. Mm-hmm. But like you said, he was wearing white and they were wearing black. So maybe is the family going to turn on Tony?
Well, you could tell Stacks was getting madder and madder. If you look back, because I kept looking at Stacks' face every time he do something, you could tell he'd be like, I wonder if Stacks, because he is an underboss in the storyline, right? He was made an underboss or whatever. I wonder if this is going to be Stacks basically trying to take over the family from D'Angelo. Because he got rid of his partner way back when, Dimes and all that sort of other stuff. I don't know. There's got to be a story there because, again, the facials mean something.
I agree. But this was great. I really enjoyed it. So we're going to stop there because we talked about the main event already. Yep. The one last thing was the Javon Evans coming to NXT. I don't know who is that?
I'll be honest with you, I don't watch NXT Level Up, so it's like, oh, okay, cool. Somebody that's NXT Level Up is basically, I think, if I remember correctly, it took place of like one of the main event shows or something, like, those little side shows. So evidently he's young and 19, but I didn't follow it because I don't watch Level Up at all. So
I also said Shawn Michaels is cooking. He is. All right, so on a scale from things to a Shawn Spears perfect 10, what did you think of this?
It's been a minute, but I'll give them an 8 because a lot of the matches were pretty good. I really don't think there was a bad match on this card. I mean, some of them were different, but I can't say that any of them made me bored. I mean, the women's 6-man tag was a little chaotic, but I never could say that it was boring. So I would say an 8. I thought it was a pretty good show.
That Evans dude is from DPW Indie Promotion. Oh, okay. Thank you, Io. For me, I really did enjoy a lot of the matches on tonight's show. There really wasn't a match that I felt took me out a little bit.
Right.
Maybe the 6-woman tag match, but it was because I had a hard time trying to figure out who was who. But that wasn't on there. That was on me.
But out of all those matches, if we look at WrestleMania 1, right, which we watched last night, between here and there, I'm sorry, I've got to give this show a higher score because I felt like one match out of however many matches there were, 5 or 6, was kind of a decent, goodish match. Whereas with WrestleMania, if I watch it again, I'd skip probably 2 or 3 of the matches. So to me, it made a bigger impact on me than WrestleMania Night 1, and that's saying something for that crew.
I hope JJ's listening to this, but I'm going to give this show an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it too. I really thought that was an overall great show. Speaking of which, I said his name and he appeared. If you watch more often, you would know the women.
I don't know. I mean, that's somewhat true, but I mean, if you miss 1 week of NXT or something, sometimes you'll be like, well, who in the hell is that girl? So I don't know. Yes, that's true, but I don't know. I thought the 6-woman tag was kind of thrown together because even I was like, wait, where do these people come from? Okay. I mean, I know who they are, right? But they all of a sudden became teams. I don't know. But
yeah, look, I was kind of like, where did this storyline come from? Because I was like, I know Jacy, Jayne, and Thea. I was like, okay, I need to pay more attention.
Right. It was a good show. It was a they really did stand and deliver this night. I will say that.
All right. So as we get ready to wrap up here, Josh, where can people find you?
Just at Gamer Peroski. And again, I'll be doing NXT reviews weekly, pretty much starting last week, this week or whatever, on the A+ Hero Report under WrestleManiacs podcast. So that'll be a blast.
As for myself, you can follow me on Twitter at @Thea_. I cover all things wrestling, WWE, Raw, WWE, AEW, TNA. All things TNA will be exclusively on Body Slam. Just follow NXT socials so you're good, DLL. So as far as tonight is concerned, Josh and I will be coming back tonight for a simulcast to do WrestleMania Night 2. We'll be doing a simulcast for Raw after Mania. NXT, I will be joining Josh on A+ Hero Report for the NXT Stand and Deliver. But don't get used to it. It's only this week, and then he's on his own. And then we'll be doing the SmackDown after Mania simulcast. So thank you guys all so much for watching. For the continued support, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live or release a new video. If you don't want to watch if you don't want to watch WrestleMania by yourself, you can check out my friends over at the Jeff Meacham Universe. They'll be doing a WrestleMania watch along starting at 2 p.m. They're gonna go live. So make sure you check them out if you don't want to watch WrestleMania by yourself. And we'll see you guys tonight after WrestleMania Night 2. Bye.
Sure.